Good afternoon, everyone. We're back on the record for first appearance court. My name is Judge Jackie Powell, and this is just your first appearance. This is not your trial, so please note that everything you say is being recorded. If you have an attorney who through the public defender's office, you either have already spoken with them or you should have an opportunity to speak with them. If you have a private attorney, when you come up, please let me know. If you have already spoken to the attorney, that's fine. But for today's purposes, we're just finding probable cause, determining whether there's probable cause, and dealing with the issue of release. So I am going to start. I believe Mr. Comegno was on the docket. Was it this morning? It says that he's back on. Ronald Comengo. I have medical research written there. Do we have Ronald Comegno?
Comingo, recall. I know, but if that doesn't mean I'm. Thank you. Thank you, Comingo.
Comingo.
Judge, the recall for some reason. She didn't tell me why.
Okay, so I'll hold it for recall. What is the name of the attorney in the jail?
Judge is Austin Sanders.
Good afternoon, Mr. Sanders. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Judge.
Okay, then do we have Tiffany Amber Jaleesa Trotman? Tiffany Trotman. Good afternoon, Ms. Trotman.
Good afternoon.
You're before the court today for one count of possession of cannabis, 20 grams or less.
Yes.
Judge, would you be inclined to ROR?
Court does find probable cause. Does the state wish to be heard? No. Then the court does find probable cause, and the court will ROR Ms. Trotman on this case.
Thank you, Judge.
Brenna Marie Joy Edge.
North Broward, Your Honor.
Thank you. Ms. Edge. Good afternoon, Ms. Edge. You're before the court today for one count of grand theft, and there is a misdemeanor KPS charge.
Your Honor, Ms. Edge indicated to me that she's going to bond out. I'd ask the court to leave the bonds in place.
Okay, Ms. Edge, on count one, grand theft, your bond is $1,000, and a bond of $500 was on the misdemeanor KPS that remains. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Cindy Sue Reedy.
Main jail, I believe, Judge. All right, just hang on.
Cindy Sue Reedy. At the main jail, do we have Cindy Sue Reedy?
Judge, we have no females here left. She's at North Broward. She's en route, they're saying.
Okay. Is North Broward on the screen?
All right, who's this?
Deputy Cindy Sue Reedy is en route. Is that correct?
I don't know. I have to research that.
Okay.
Because I called everybody that was new placements. So I have to call intake.
Okay, then I'll put it on the side, and if you have her, before we're done, I'll recall it.
Okay.
Thank you. I believe somebody here is someone here for Megan Ann Finch. Sir, you can step up to the microphone.
Judge, we have no females here.
Okay. Is Megan Ann Finch at North Broward?
She's a medical reset, Judge.
Okay. I believe she was on also yesterday.
That's a medical reset, yeah.
Thank you.
All right.
Sir, what's your name?
Michael.
Michael?
Yes.
Okay, what's your last name?
Finch.
Mr. Finch. How are you related to Miss Finch?
That's my wife.
Okay. So she's not before the court today because they have her on medical reset. I'm not sure what the medical reason is. So this matter will have to be reset for her to be magistrated.
Judge Domingo, the one you called and set aside, is here now.
Okay.
Your Honor,
yes.
I don't know if maybe you want to, while he's here, if he plans on coming back, it maybe because he was here this morning. I don't know if the morning's more convenient or the afternoon. So maybe we could if morning's more convenient, maybe we could reset for the morning.
Okay. Were you here this morning?
Yes, but I have a job, Your Honor, and the thing is,
I didn't notice you. Were you sitting in a courtroom?
No, they told me she wasn't in, and so I just
knew it was reset from the afternoon.
Okay. Okay.
Right, and she's been in a couple of days, Your Honor, and the thing is, I can't be out here alone. A single parent, we got 2 kids. I don't post the bond for the majority of it. And now if the bond, if another bond come up or whatever the case may be, I'm posting it, but it's coming into my it's coming to our mortgage. And so at the same time, you know, it's like put me in a situation further and further back. And I need her so she can be out here to continue her job, so I can continue my job, so we can make ends together and put ends together.
Are you saying, Mr. Finch, that there is counts 2, 3, and 4? There was a bond on there. You've posted those bonds?
Yes, and I posted it, and I.
So then there is just one count that.
It's the child neglect, is which I'm asking, can she be R&R on, Your Honor? Because right now I'm cutting deep into our mortgage right now, with just I just paid. And right here, I'm on my own, and with the 2 kids, I can't be able to do it on my own.
Okay, Mr. Finch, let me hear from the state that Mr. Linder wants to say something.
It's not so much the bond issue, Your Honor, because of the nature of this offense, it's the contact issue, which you really would need to hear from the court.
Right, right.
What I was going to suggest, Your Honor, what we've done in years past in situations like this, if we wanted to take testimony from Mr. Finch, we all have pretty good memories, and obviously taking into consideration tomorrow when she appears, so he doesn't have to come out.
So,
Your Honor, all right, if she get on RR or whatever the case may be, she don't have to come home and stay with us. She can stay with her mother. She don't have to come in at our facility. She can stay home until we get things situated. Because she have another resident at 35. Her mother address is 3531 Northwest 35th Way. My address is 3640 Northwest 4th Street, Lauderdale, Florida. So she'll have a place to stay.
I understand, Mr. Finch, but the only issue is that she has to be here for me to give her the instruction that she's not going to be home with you and the children, right? I can't give you the message to relay to her. I have to tell her. So that's the only issue. So is afternoon a better time for you to come to court? Or you don't have to come back because I've heard from you.
I cook at the ale house. And,
do you want to put on the record the address that she could tell me the address where you all currently reside?
3640 Northwest 4th Street, Lauderdale, Florida 33311.
And where is it that you're saying that she can stay?
This is at her mother's house.
Okay.
3531 Northwest 35th Way, Lauderdale Lakes, Florida 33311.
And so I have to tell her and make sure that that's okay with her?
It's okay. They got it. We both houses got family rooms, so she's good over there. She's good.
Okay. So it's going to be up to you. Do you wish to be back when she's
I'd like to be back, but if it's cutting into my job, I can't be back.
What time is good for you? Is morning or afternoon better? Then I'll ask the clerk to reset it.
Honestly, I have to be to work at 8. And I don't get off until 5. But as I say, I'm a cook. Sometimes I get cut. It might be 2. Sometimes I go all the way the distance to 5. It all depends on the volume. But tomorrow's Friday. It's going to be a high volume, so I know it's going to be I know it's gonna be all the way to 5 o'clock. Tomorrow's Friday, and I'm just being honest. We have a high volume.
I understand, but you know.
I can't make it tomorrow,
Okay.
but I like to be here, but I can't make it.
Okay, well, I'll ask the clerk to, is there something that?
Well, no, I mean, obviously, you know, Mr. Reed, you know, I don't want to speak for Mr. Reedy, but, you know, clearly they can communicate to one another. Mr. Reedy could relay any information.
Oh,
Yeah,
sure.
if there's
No,
anything
sure,
you want me to tell
definitely.
her, I'll be glad to tell her.
Definitely. What I will do is I'll ask the clerk to reset it for the afternoon. It'll give Mr. Reedy, who's the attorney from the Public Defender's Office, to speak to her. You've put on the record the address that she can go to. Did someone write it down so that we have it? I guess Mr. Reedy can take that address, and then when we'll address it tomorrow.
And what we can do, Your Honor, worst case scenario, if it's a medical reset again, you just make notes for Judge Murphy over the weekend.
Sure, sure. All right, thank you. I was being told that Comegno is back at the main jail. If I'm saying that right, Ronald Comegno?
Second look.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Comegno, good afternoon.
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, you're before the court today for out-of-state hold on a felony case. Can you hear me? You can hear me?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so what that means is you have to go before the extradition court, and they will schedule you for that, so we can determine what needs to be done, okay?
Okay.
So we find
Okay.
probable cause, and you'll go before the extradition court.
Okay.
Thank you. Jabrina Shamir Spillman. Jabrina Spillman,
Shelley North again.
North Broward. Is Miss Spillman there? Yes, I'm here. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. You were pressed on, Mark. Turn around and take a look at it. Hold on to the picture.
So, Ms. Spillman, you're before the court this afternoon for count 1, fraud and uttering a false instrument, 2, resisting officer without violence, and 3, possession of blank, fictitious, unlawfully issued driver's license. Ms. Spillman, I have read the probable cause affidavit. I do find probable cause. Does anyone want to be heard?
Yes, Judge, I was going to ask the court to consider pretrial release for Ms. Spillman. I don't know if the state has an objection.
My only concern is, in addition to other priors, she's out right now on resisting without violence and giving false information to law enforcement during an investigation.
Don't say anything, Ms.
And
Spillman.
had another resisting without violence last year. Check and see. So, that's what's going on right now with her.
Yes, Judge, Ms. Spillman advised me of the pending charge. She has been living here all of her life, and she's been living in the same location for the last 3 years with her mother. Unfortunately, she's not working right now, so she does not have any money to post a bond. If released on pretrial release, she would go back to living with her mother. She's also given me the number of her nephew, who I might be able to call to see if some type of monetary bond could be raised. But Ms. Spillman was not sure that that would happen if the court imposed a monetary bond.
Okay, Ms. Spillman, the court does find probable cause, and I will release you to pretrial supervision, standard pretrial supervision. You must report to the pretrial offices within 24 hours of your release. Failure to do so and or to follow the instructions of pretrial release could lead to your rearrest. Okay? Thank you.
Deputy, can you give her a map to the pretrial release office?
Will do.
Thank you.
Ashley Levita Smith.
North Broward.
Good afternoon, Ms. Smith.
Good afternoon.
You're before the court for count 1, possession of MDMA. Count 2, introducing contraband into the detention facility. Count 3, false ID given to a law enforcement officer. Based on the probable cause affidavit that I have before me, I find no probable cause for counts 1 and 2.
I suspect, Your Honor, what's very commonplace in these type of charges, there's, I imagine, a second report. I would just ask for 24 hours to see if the arresting officer prepared a second report.
The court will do so. As far as this, I'll just write that I found probable cause only on count 3.
Well, I understand the state wants additional time, Judge, but meanwhile, Ms. Smith is in custody. She has lived here all of her life. She is self-employed. She does hair, and she's lived, I believe, the last 26 years with her grandmother, and that's where she would be going back. I mean, even if there is probable cause for counts 1 and 2, I would still be asking for pretrial release.
Okay, but I'll give the state 24 hours to perfect.
Ms. Smith, we'll see you back here tomorrow, okay?
Yes, but I have my daughter as well. That's why I've asked for the help, and I told them that I have my daughter, and they found.
Don't go into the facts of the case, Ms. Smith. Ms. Smith, they haven't established anything yet. So don't hand them a present.
Okay.
No, I do understand that.
Let's move on to Earl James Brewer Sanders.
I'm talking about my thing got no charges, but they can't let me go there on the whole.
Hi, Judge. Would you be inclined to resolve this trespass?
Mr. Sanders, you're before the court on a misdemeanor KPS on a trespass. Your attorney is indicating that you would like to resolve, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am. And he says, Judge, that he was in custody at the time of the KPS from, I guess, maybe satellite? I'm not sure.
It is a satellite. It is a satellite case. Does the state have an offer?
It'd be a withholding court cost, no return to the budget in at 2000 North Federal Highway. And that's in Hollywood.
No return, no contest, right? Yes.
All right, Mr. Brewer, is it true that you wish to resolve this misdemeanor case?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Do you hear me?
Yes, sir. Please raise your right hand as best as you can. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. You can put it down, put your hand down. Is anyone forcing you to resolve your case today?
No, ma'am.
Are you under the influence of any drugs or alcohol?
No, ma'am.
Are you on that?
Have you ever been treated for mental or emotional illness?
No.
Do you understand the proceedings today, Mr. Brewer?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you understand that you're you're waiving your right to a trial?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you understand that if you're not a U.S. citizen, you could face deportation?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you pleading guilty or no contest to the charge?
No contest.
Then, Mr. Brewer, I accept your plea and I find that it is freely and voluntarily given. I sentence you to a withhold adjudication and court cost. No return to budget in the city of Hollywood.
Can I ask you?
You may want to talk to your attorney first before you ask me any questions.
He says he has 2 other trespass pending.
I've been in here since.
I can only deal with what's before me, and this is what I have before me.
Sometimes the clerk can pull it from satellite, Judge, if that's the case.
Sir, I'm gonna deal with what's before me today. Thank you. Mackenzie Bienami.
Oh, he posted bond, Judge.
Bonded, Judge.
Thank you. Leonard Anton Henley.
Judge, he would like to resolve if you'd be inclined.
Okay, Mr. Henley, you're before the court today for trespassing on occupied structure or conveyance. The court does find probable cause. Does the state have an offer?
It would be a time served offer, Your Honor.
Withhold and time served?
No, adjudication time served.
Okay.
No contest, right?
Adjudication and time served. Then, Mr. Henley, will you please raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth?
Yes.
You can put your hand down, sir. Is anyone forcing you to resolve your case today?
No, ma'am.
Are you under the influence of any type of alcohol or drugs?
No, ma'am.
Have you ever been treated for a mental or emotional illness?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand the proceedings today?
Yes.
Do you understand that you're waiving your right to an attorney?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand that if you're not a U.S. citizen, it is possible that you could face deportation?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you pleading guilty or no contest to the charge of trespassing?
No contest.
Then I accept your plea. I find that it is freely and voluntarily given. Mr. Henley, the court sentences you to an adjudication and time served.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you.
I believe Ammons is bonded, correct? Or no?
William Ammons? William Robert?
Oh, okay. No, he's here, Judge.
Okay, Mr. Ammons.
Ma'am.
Mr. Ammons, you're before the court today for one count of DUI, alcohol or drugs, first offense, and then there's 2 other traffic offenses that are not for magistrate. I'm sorry? I've been informed, Mr. Ammons, that your bond has been posted, so the court finds probable cause, and I guess in due course you will be released.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you.
15 years.
Luis Alberto Rosario Rivera.
Judge, he's declined the public defender's office.
Good afternoon, Mr. Rivera.
Good afternoon.
Mr. Rivera, you're before the court today for one count of DUI, first offense, count 2 DUI, and then count 3 disobeying stop yield sign that's not for magistrate, and then disobeying a traffic. The counts 3 and 4 are traffic violations.
Your Honor?
Yes.
Just a note, it mentioned, the arresting officer mentions in the PC that he uses another officer to interpret for him. I don't know if maybe based on
Mr. Rosario Rivera.
Yeah.
Do you understand what was just told to you?
No, I don't. I don't hear.
We have a Spanish interpreter on the way,
So
Judge.
we will get a Spanish interpreter from Mr. Rivera. Okay. We will recall your case as soon as they get here.
I understand English. The thing is, I don't hear what he said.
Well,
because it's loud here.
We'll get a Spanish interpreter so that we're clear, okay?
Okay.
Thank you. Just have a seat and we'll recall you. Okay. Malik Amir Maharaj.
Bonded. No,
thank you. The court finds probable cause in absentia. Mark David Francois.
Bonded.
Bonded. The court finds probable cause. James W. Labroad. James Labroad.
George Broward.
Thank you. There's a bond posted for Mr. Labroad. Good afternoon, Mr. Labroad. You're before the court for DUI, first offense, and a traffic violation. I've been informed by confinement status that your bond has been posted. The court finds probable cause. Thank you. Antoine Dwayne Ricks. Is Mr. Ricks at the main jail? Antoine?
Correction, Judge.
Did you get assistance from the government? Do you own any properties? Circle the note with the refresh the
Judge, in light of the no bond hold, we have no objection to the $1,000 remaining in place.
Thank you.
I have no possession. This isn't trial.
The court does find probable cause. As to the possession of cocaine, the bond is $1,000. There is no bond hold on your felony violation of probation, so you will appear before that judge to deal with that issue. Thank you. Zachary John Parker.
Is this Parker? Judge, he's pro se.
Yes.
Zachary John Parker. Mr. Parker, you're before the court today for a possession with intent to deliver cannabis. The court does find probable cause, but I've also been informed that your bond has already been posted.
Yes, ma'am.
So you'll be released in due course. Thank you.
Thank you.
Frank Blake.
Yes. Yeah.
Mr. McLaurin, you're here on Frank Blake.
Yes, Frank.
Please count 3 is a KPS and a municipal ordinance, Judge.
Yes. Okay, Mr. Blake, just so it's clear, you're before the court today for 1, a possession of cocaine, 2, possession of drug paraphernalia. A 3rd count is a misdemeanor KPS on a city ordinance matter, and that attorney is here on that count. And then there is a felony KPS also with a no bond hold. So the court does find probable cause. What are we doing, Mr. McLaurin?
Yes, Judge, if I could approach.
Certainly.
Judge, I'm giving you the appointment order. I'm also giving you the notice to appear in Mr. Blake's case so the court can see that he was charged with a petty theft for taking a rose from a store. I'm talking about $2.19. In any event, Judge, this happened before any of his other matters occurred, and I discussed that with him. Mr. Blake notified me that he would like to resolve this matter since it happened before any of his other felony matters, so he could just squarely focus on his felony cases.
And Judge, we have no objection to the $1,000 remaining in place in light of the KPS no bond hold in felony court with Coleman.
And I wasn't going to be asking for any increase.
Thank you. Okay, so one thing at a time. The court does appoint Mr. McLaurin to represent Mr. Blake on the city ordinance case. And the court is inclined to a withholding time served, a withholding court costs. Is that what
yes, Judge, that's what he would like to do.
So, Mr. Blake, will you raise your right hand?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you can put your hand down. Is anyone forcing you to resolve the city ordinance case today?
No, ma'am.
Are you under the influence of any type of alcohol or drugs?
No, ma'am.
Have you ever been treated for a mental or emotional illness?
No, ma'am.
Do you understand the proceedings today?
Yes.
Do you understand that you're waiving your right to a trial, again, on only the city ordinance case?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand that if you're not a U.S. citizen, you could be subject to deportation proceedings?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you pleading guilty or no contest to this petty theft charge?
No contest.
Then I accept your plea. I find it is freely and voluntarily given, and I sentence you to withhold adjudication and court costs. Thank you.
Judge, you take
Yes,
judicial
ma'am.
notice of the time he served in custody?
I will take judicial notice of the time he's been in custody.
Judge, I also, just for the purposes of the record, I did tell Mr. Blake, as he already knows now, that these petty thefts add up. And as he can see, he has a felony petty theft now. And even though this petty theft was for a rose, it was $2 and change. The next one could be the same thing, and it could be a felony petty theft as well. I did discuss that with him for the record.
So you do understand that, Mr. Blake, after 3 times, it doesn't matter how much it is, it could be a felony. You'll be charged.
Yes, yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Mr.
All
Nichols.
right.
We have Miss Reedy up in Pompano, Judge.
We have Miss who? And then we have the Spanish interpreters here, which, I'm sorry? Okay, okay. Will that, so, okay. All right, we have the Spanish interpreter in the courtroom, so can I get Mr. Luis Alberto Rosario Rivera?
Yes.
Good afternoon, Mr. Rivera.
Buenas tardes, señor Rivera.
Buenas tardes.
Mr. Rivera, you're before the court today on 4 counts.
Está aquí en tribunal por 4 cargos.
The first count is a DUI, a first offense.
El primer cargo es manejar bajo la influencia, primer delito.
Second is a DUI, I guess with a person 16 or, what is that? Accompanied by a person 18 years or older?
Based on the breath results, Your Honor. It's one or the other.
These prints are very,
Y el segundo cargo es, o el aliento era más de .15 o una persona en el vehículo, un pasajero,
I see.
era menor de
It's the
18
DUI
años.
balance is what it says. I'm trying to decipher what it says. Thank you. Count 3 is not for magistrate. It's a traffic offense, disobeying a stop sign.
El tercer cargo no es para magistratura, es un cargo de no haber obedecido el cartel de parar.
And count 4 is also a traffic offense. It's not for magistrate.
Y el cuarto cargo también es un delito de tránsito que no pertenece a magistratura.
Mr. Rivera, the court does find probable cause for this matter.
Señor Rivera, el tribunal sí determina que existe motivo fundado para este caso.
Is it true that you do not wish to retain an attorney?
¿Es verdad que usted no desea contratar a un abogado?
Nosotros yo voy a contratar a un abogado privado.
I'm going to hire a private attorney.
Okay. So, Mr. Rosario Rivera, on count 1, for your bond is $500.
Go ahead.
Right. Are you hearing? Is it okay?
I don't know why there's so much interference.
It's all the speakers that are on.
Okay.
I can turn it up, but I don't know how.
It's the main jail that's not.
I don't know. Okay, so it's from the main jail. Okay, so you got count 1, $500, and then count 2, $1,000.
O sea que la fianza va a ser para el primer cargo es $500 y el segundo cargo la fianza va a ser $1,000.
Okay.
Okay, good luck, sir.
Suerte, señor.
Okay. Gracias.
Thank you.
While the Spanish interpreter is here, is there anyone else who needs a Spanish interpreter?
¿Alguien más en la sala requiere servicio de intérprete español?
Yo.
I do.
One more, Judge.
Please come on up and if you let me know his name.
Acérquese y déjeme su nombre.
What's your name?
Omar Oropesa Molina.
Okay, I found it. Mr. Molina, you're before the court. On 51 counts of counterfeit, false use of a credit card.
Señor Oropesa Molina está ante el tribunal por 51 cargos de falsificación de tarjeta de crédito.
Count 52 is a traffic in counterfeit credit cards.
El cargo 52 es un cargo de traficar en tarjetas de crédito falsificadas.
Count 53 is an unlawful possession of personal ID of another.
El cargo 53 es estar en posesión de identificación que no le corresponde y de pertenece a otra persona.
Count 54 is tampering with or fabricating physical evidence.
El cargo 54 es corrupción o fabricación de pruebas físicas.
Count 55, unlawful conveyance of fuel.
Y el cargo 55 es transporte ilícito de combustible.
And then the last count is expired tag, less than 6 months, not for magistrate.
Y el cargo 56 no pertenece a la magistratura o audiencia de hoy y es placa vencida más de 6 meses. Menos de 6 meses, perdón.
Court does find probable cause.
El tribunal sí dictamina que existe motivo fundado.
Does either side wish to be heard as to the bonds?
¿Alguna de las partes quisiera ser escuchado con respecto a la fianza?
Yes, Judge.
Sí, señor juez.
He's a 3-year resident of South Florida.
Es residente de 3 años en la Florida.
He works as a mechanic, but only part-time, and only makes about $500 to $1,000 a month.
Él es mecánico, pero trabaja a tiempo parcial y hace más o menos de $500 a $1,000 por mes.
He has applied for residency and is awaiting a determination.
Él ha aplicado para residencia y está esperando para la determinación con respecto a ello.
He says that he can make the most $1,000 in the aggregate, so we're asking that you set each at $100.
Y estamos pidiendo, informando que puede pagar un máximo como $1,000 de fianzas, así que estamos pidiendo que haga $100 por cargo.
So that he can have a meaningful opportunity to be released.
Para que pueda tener una oportunidad significativa de ser liberado.
Your Honor, I'm going to be requesting the court keep the bond in place.
Su señor, estoy pidiendo que el tribunal mantenga la fianza como está.
Due to the aggravating facts of this affidavit, the sheer amount of cards that he was in possession of.
Debido a los factores agravantes del estado policial y al monto de tarjetas de créditos que se encontraron en su posesión.
Frankly, it's really impossible to know just exactly what his financial abilities are.
Francamente es imposible realmente saber cuáles son sus capacidades económicas.
Since, according to his own admission to law enforcement, he was using these cards to purchase fuel to sell.
Ya que, de acuerdo a su propia declaración a los oficiales de policía, él estaba usando las tarjetas para comprar combustible para poder venderlo.
When he was arrested, he had just left the gas station after purchasing $125 worth of diesel fuel using one of the counterfeit cards.
Cuando fue arrestado, estaba abandonando el sitio de la estación de servicio después de haber comprado $125 de combustible gasoil usando una de las tarjetas falsificadas.
Judge, I want to ask, Mr. Linder, is he a convicted felon or no?
Quiero preguntar, señor Lerner, ¿él es reo convicto.
So the court's aware.
I'm sorry?
Just so the court's aware, I will always advise the court. If I see a criminal history, I will make sure to advise the court. I didn't bring it up because he has no history.
Para que sepa el tribunal, si yo conozco o sé de algún antecedente penal, se lo voy a presentar al tribunal, pero hemos revisado y no tiene ningún antecedente penal.
If I can just add one thing, Judge. These cases would be eligible for drug court if he, at the appropriate time, determines that he has a substance or any kind of problem. All these cases would be able to transfer into drug court, and I've had similar. So there are options and there are defenses other than going to trial on this. And in light of that, and in light of the fact that I don't think he has a huge gas tank, probably reserving $50,000 worth of gas somewhere, I'm asking that he have a meaningful opportunity to be released.
Para que sepa, su señoría, es posible que este caso podría ser presentado al Tribunal de Drogas. Conozco ciertos casos que han sido presentados así. Ciertamente hay opciones y hay defensas, y en vista de esas defensas y opciones, no es a lo mejor necesario que tenga que ir a juicio. No creo que él tenga tanques o depósitos para poder guardar $50,000 de combustible.
The court does find probable cause on this matter, and the bonds will remain $1,000 for each count, up to count 55. The last count is not for magistrate.
El tribunal dictamina que existe motivo fundado y dictamina que las fianzas van a quedar como están hasta el cargo 55. Los otros dos cargos no pertenecen a esta audiencia de magistratura.
Your Honor, one of the counts is kind of like just stuck in the middle there. 52. That 52 is actually a $5,000 bond.
Su señoría, uno de los cargos está ahí como metido en el medio. El cargo 52 es un cargo de $5,000 de fianza.
It's a second degree trafficking in counterfeit credit.
Es un delito mayor de segundo grado de traficar en tarjetas de crédito falsificadas.
And it has the higher standard bond because of since it's a second degree offense.
Y tiene un impuesto, una fianza más elevada porque es un delito mayor de segundo grado.
Judge, he's not going to be able to get out. It doesn't matter.
On count number 52, the court will adjust the bond to $1,000, and it'll remain as previously stated. Thanks.
En el cargo 52, el tribunal va a reajustar la fianza a $1,000 y va a quedar como está. Gracias.
Thank you. Maxoni, I don't want to mess up that last name, Coissy.
North Bride approaching, Your Honor.
Oh, before our Spanish interpreter leaves, is there anyone else who needs a Spanish interpreter?
¿Alguien más intérprete español?
Hearing nothing, thank you very
You're
much.
welcome. Have a good day.
Okay, Maxoni, sir, how do you say your last name?
Coissy.
Good afternoon, sir. You're before the court today. There's a municipal ordinance matter, and then there are 3 counts of felony probation violations.
Once I only got one. I don't got no felony or probation in Palm Beach. And I already took care of that last year when I got locked up for violating probation.
The probation out of Palm Beach is for DUI, from what I see here.
Yeah, that's been resolved. I'm no longer on probation for that. I resolved that last year when I got locked up in June 27.
Well, I don't know what you resolved. There are 3 probation violations there. 2 of them indicate different case numbers. So the court does find probable cause. And do you have an attorney? Or is he represented by the Public Defender's Office, Mr. Reedy?
He had been represented by Mr. Jellin, and when I talked with Mr. Coissy earlier, I ran his cases in Odyssey. It does not appear as though either of the 2 Broward County violation of probation cases have been resolved. I looked at the warrants, and I was kind of hoping maybe the municipal ordinance was the only violation, and I might ask the court to set a bond, but that is not the case. There's some traffic offenses, suspended license offenses. And I don't see a court date set
That's
for
what
him.
I had violated with last year in June 27, when I violated with driving with a suspended license. And that's how I violated my probation to Palm Beach and all them last year. And I went to Palm Beach and settled everything, and I'm no longer on that no more.
There is a $25 bond on the municipal ordinance, and I would leave it. And if you would, if he can get in touch with his attorney.
And what I was going to advise the court, as soon as we're done today, BSO is going to notify Palm Beach. If they receive that information that Mr. Coisy is suggesting, that it is not in effect anymore, then the hold will be taken off.
So, Mr. Coisy, I'm being informed by confinement status that they will check and verify that the holds need to be off. And if it is, then they'll release the holds will be released. Okay? Thank you, sir. Chase Tyler Lee.
Main jail, I believe, Judge.
Chase Tyler Lee.
Judge, he's pro se.
Mr. Lee, you're before the court today. Count 1, possession with intent to sell or deliver cannabis. And count 2, obstruction by a disguised person.
Judge, actually, I spoke with Mr. Lee's attorney.
Oh, he has an attorney?
He does, Mr. Grossman.
Okay.
And Mr. Grossman asked that the bond be left in place.
The court does find probable cause, and the bond for count 1, possession with intent to sell or deliver, is $1,000, and the court will not impose bond on count 2.
What does that mean? Not impose on count?
It means that you don't need to post a bond on that count, sir. Your total bond is $1,000.
Anthony Bernard Milner.
Mr. Miller. Bill, wake up.
See you tomorrow,
Mr. Milner, good afternoon. You're before the court today on count 1, a grand theft, and then count 2 is a felony violation of probation. The court does find probable cause, and then the court will leave the bond as is on count 1. And you should be going to your felony judge soon for these matters to be heard.
I think he has a court date tomorrow, Judge.
I think it's based on the paperwork I have. It says you go to court tomorrow or January 11th at 8:30.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Luis Fernando Ayala.
He posted bond, yeah.
Mr. Ayala, I'm being told posted bond. Alexis Bonilla.
Your Honor, we're waiving formal reading.
Mr. Bonilla, you're before the court today for 16 counts.
Judge, we're waiving formal reading.
I heard you.
Thank you, Judge.
Does anybody wish to be heard in regards to bond?
Yes, Your Honor.
I do. Go ahead, Mr. Leonard.
Thank you. Your Honor, I'm going to be requesting counts 6 through 12 and count 16, $10,000 each.
Okay, there's a lot of sound. So 6 through 12.
And count 15.
And count 15.
I mean 16.
You're asking for what?
10,000 each. On 13 through 15, I'm requesting 50,000 each, Your Honor. I'm also requesting pretrial release with the GPS monitor level 2. No contact with the alleged victim, whose initials are, one moment, AB, Bravo, Alpha Bravo. No contact with any minors. That until further order of the court, Mr. Bonilla not be in possession of any devices with internet access. Your Honor, I'm making these requests not only, and the court's familiar with the allegations. I'm very concerned based on these allegations, the relationship between Mr. Bonilla and the victim, and just the additional evidence having to deal with the computer images, and also just noting the strength of the evidence against Mr. Bonilla.
Judge, we're asking for no more than $3,000 or $30,000 on the aggregate is what he says he can afford to come up with based on his savings. He is a 10-year resident of South Florida. He is a U.S. citizen. He supports 2 teenage children, neither of which live with him, so there's no concern as that's concerned. But he does support them, one of which lives in North Lauderdale with his mother. He has 2 jobs, one of which is part-time. He was working and making $3,000 a month previously. He would like to be able to go back and see if he can salvage that and continue to support. And he also was in the National Guard for 4 years and was honorably discharged. So I ask that you take that into consideration, that he served the country and served the National Guard for 4 years and with honorable distinction. And his lack of priors also should, I'm asking that you take that into consideration. Based on that, I'm asking that you set the aggregate in $30,000 so that he can actually have a meaningful opportunity to be released. And also understanding that we can put arbitrary numbers on this and it's not going to make the community safe. What makes the community safe is the condition the state's asked for, which is the ankle monitor and monitoring. And finally, I do have objection to all access to internet. Recent Supreme Court case precedent, Penningham versus North Carolina, said that convicted sex offenders can't be restricted because it violates the First Amendment from all access to internet, because that's the way we live our lives now. So a more tailored restriction on devices, applications would be appropriate. Anything else would violate his First Amendment rights, and the court has no authority to do that before he's even convicted, let alone after he is.
Thank you.
So to be more specific, I think we're asking for 6 through 16 to each have a $2,000 amount associated with it, in addition to pretrial ankle monitor.
Thank you. The court does find probable cause. Count 1 through 4, count 1 through 5 will remain with a $1,000 bond. Counts 6 through 16, the court will impose $5,000 bond on each. In addition, Mr. Bonilla is to have no contact indirectly or directly with with AB, and there shall be no contact with minors.
Judge, I would object no contact with his children, unless some other court has deemed it appropriate. This is particularly tailored to this, and I don't think that the court has jurisdiction to no contact with any minors whatsoever.
Your Honor, normally I would agree, but because of the relationship between the alleged victim, I think, and the defendant, I think any minors is appropriate, even once.
Over defense objection, thank you.
And to the no internet access, Judge.
I did not impose no internet access.
Thank you, Judge. Thank you, Judge.
The court's not imposing a GPS monitor?
A level 2.
Thank you, Judge.
Allison Brabham.
I believe that's a medical loan, Judge. And Miss Reedy is at North Broward, Judge.
Okay. Cindy Sue Reedy.
North Broward.
Miss Reedy, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Miss Reedy, you're before the court today for count 1, a possession of cocaine, and then there is an operating without a valid driver's license.
Yes.
Judge, on the last side.
That was left in there.
I'm sorry.
The cocaine was a baggie that was left in my purse.
Hang on, Miss
Reedy. You do not want to talk about your case.
Okay.
Is Miss Reedy represented by the public defender's
yes,
office?
I'll be representing her today, Judge. I'm going to be asking the court to consider a pretrial release. I don't believe she has, or an ROR rather. I don't believe she has a prior criminal history.
Okay, Miss Reedy, the court does find probable cause as to the possession of cocaine. The court will ROR you on count 1, and there will be no bond imposed on count 2 as it is. Thank you.
Good luck, Miss Reedy.
Thank you, Mr. Reedy.
All right, were we able to locate Stephen Prim?
Yes, he's at the Conti, Your Honor.
If Brian can enter an order for Mr. Bonilla, Alexis Bonilla, the one that we had before that, just to access his phone and property.
I will do that.
Sure.
Thank you. And then Mr. Prim. Oh,
Yes, Your Honor.
where is Mr. Prim? Conti. Mr. Prim, were you in court this morning?
No.
Okay. Mr. Prim, you're here this afternoon just on for a violation of probation on a misdemeanor matter. It's is this an ad charge? It looks like it's an ad charge.
What's the offense? I don't have any paperwork on this. I don't know what you're.
Yes.
I have the warrant.
Is it just the violation of probation on the misdemeanor?
Did you give me her number? No.
There's a new law violation.
I
don't, and that's not before the court today. So we will. It's just a violation of probation. We'll find probable cause, and then you'll go before your division judge. I believe that's Judge Evans. And Judge Evans did tell me. I don't know. Can we give Mr. Prem a court date? Judge Evans did inform me that either Monday or sometime next week. So you'll be in court sometime next week before your judge, okay?
All right, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Okay. Thank you. That's the one that they brought in today. Judge Evans actually brought it to me and said he had not been magistrated. So I don't know if he was on the docket this morning. Okay, so I have a, is this my second look docket? I do, I have a few.
Yes, Judge.
Is that a misdemeanor docket as well? Thank you. Okay. I was not provided with any PCs on these, so I will call them and then I'll ask if the parties will let me know what's going on with these cases.
Sure.
So I have Lavon, well, it doesn't line up. Lavon Gibbs.
This is
Oh,
you should be in North Broward, Your Honor.
Lavon Gibbs. Is Mr. Gibbs at North Broward?
Is anyone in North Broward?
All right, maybe I got you out of order. Then how about Clark Latour?
Conti, Your Honor.
Okay. Or maybe it's Latour Clark. I apologize. Can somebody tell me what's going on with this matter?
Your Honor, if this is a motion to release, information has been filed.
Has been filed?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so Mr. Latour Clark, you were here this afternoon for determination as to release, but the state has informed me that the charges have been filed. So you will be going before your judge on this matter. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
How about Rislin Marceline?
He bonded.
Okay. So no action. How about Brandon McNair?
Main jail.
Mr. McNair, Brandon McNair?
I believe this is a second look, Judge.
Yes. And I don't have the police report or anything, so what's...
He does inform that he has a job part-time that he can get back to,
Okay.
given the opportunity.
I may recall this case. I'm pulling up the PC right now. When it first came through, I think all parties involved had some concerns.
All right, we'll recall it. In order for me to make a determination, I need to see
I can print it out right now, Your Honor.
the police report at least. I need to know how much the bond is. I don't have all that information.
I can tell you right now, the bond was set at $1,000 for the possession of MDMA.
Judge, I think we're asking for standard pretrial then, based on possession and ability to go back to work.
Okay, Has Mr. McNair ever been, does anyone know, been in mental health court?
Oh, I don't believe so.
And I'm sorry, counselor at the jail, can you please tell me your name again, please?
Sure, Austin Sanders, Judge.
Mr. Sanders, sorry. I wrote it down.
Okay. Like Colonel or Bernie.
The only concern, well, one of the concerns about a standard pretrial is where is Mr. McNair going to be? As the police report does say that his sister was the one who said that she didn't want him to be at the house.
I see. Judge, he can go to a homeless shelter. There's a lot of options, but verification is not required for pretrial release, standard.
And the charges are not filed, correct?
No, he was just arrested on the 7th.
Oh, the 6th. Okay.
He has other sisters he says he can reside with, if not the homeless shelter. He has 5 different sisters that he could possibly reside with.
Okay.
If the court is inclined to release him a pretrial, I would be asking for random testing. No alcohol, intoxicants, and random testing.
Okay, thank you. Mr. McNair, the court will ROR you and put you on standard pretrial supervision, but there has to be no alcohol, no drugs. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Judge, are you ordering random testing?
Random testing, yes.
The problem with that, Judge, is it's going to cost him $25 to a private company, and a lot of times people can't afford it. They just are in violation and they get picked back up. So I'm asking that you not put random testing for this one MDMA charge. If he had 2, I would understand, but obviously if he has possession of another drug, he's going to get picked back up. But random testing, he's going to have to get on a bus. He's going to have to, do it at a drop of a hat, and he's going to have to pay $25 out of his pocket that they're not going to be able to do on a sliding scale because it's a private enterprise.
Yeah, I saw him in a pretrial. I didn't know he violated him.
I'm sorry, he's been on pretrial before?
And has not completed it successfully. Nonetheless, I'm looking to see.
Don't these
Depends on
testing...
where he goes for testing. We sometimes offer that, but it's not a guarantee that he's going to be able to test with us per se.
Well, what would guarantee for him to test with you? Is there...
If they have the availability, because it's not something that we do in the office all the time. So we may or may not always have the equipment to test, because they're typically sent out to be tested.
Well, how do I get him tested otherwise?
There are, to my knowledge, there are other places he can go to that will do sliding.
Will pretrial services provide him with that information? Okay.
The problem is, Judge, it's going to cost the $25, and it's not going to be waivable.
I'm going to leave the random testing in place, and Mr. McNair, you must report to pretrial services within 24 hours. They will give you the information about places where you can go for testing and to determine on a sliding scale how much you pay. Thank you.
Okay, man.
Judge, I don't believe sliding scale is actually a reality, but okay.
That ain't gonna happen, Judge.
He's not going to be able to pay. What you're saying?
I'm not gonna be able to pay that.
David Paul. May I have David Paul at this time?
I'm printing out the report right now, Judge.
Judge, if I can recommend something going forward, maybe possibly if you have concerns if you do a bark evaluation with follow-up treatment, that's free. That might be a good idea that would be better served to that population.
Thank you, Mr. Saunders. Do you have, is that David Paul? Okay, I'm waiting for the information on Mr. Paul. Thank you. Okay, what is the situation with Mr. Paul?
It's the second look, Judge.
I know it's a second look.
The bonds were set at 2,000 on count 1, 1,000 on count 2.
He's saying that he thinks the bond may have been posted. Is there any way to verify this?
Can we check to see if the bond was posted on David Paul? Yes. They're checking right now. The bond has not yet been posted. So we'll leave the bond in place on.
What's the bond at, Judge?
It's 2,000 on count 1 and 1,000 on count 2, so a total of 3,000.
300 to a bondsman. Okay. Thank you, Judge.
You're welcome. Yes. Okay. Yes. Is that on Mr. McNair? Yes. Okay. Yeah. So if you put. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Alberto Gomez.
He's approaching, Judge.
Your Honor, I didn't print anything out, because as you may recall, he's on the felony and misdemeanor docket. On the felony docket, I believe he was on an arrest warrant, and you ROR'd in your pretrial. He had a capias on a theft before Judge Diaz, and you decided he should see Judge Diaz on that.
That is correct. He was here yesterday.
For whatever reason, he wasn't scheduled, but I did check. He is scheduled for a status conference before Judge Diaz at 9:30 in the morning tomorrow. I would ask that he be allowed to see Judge Diaz. If that gets resolved, then he's just got ROR
right.
pretrial.
He was here yesterday, Mr. Saunders, and I did ROR him on all the other counts except I think there was a capias before Judge Diaz, and he goes to see Judge Diaz tomorrow.
9:30 a.m.
Tomorrow. So we'll leave everything the way it is. Thank you.
Your Honor, can I say something?
No, you may not want to say anything. Wait till you see your judge tomorrow, okay?
No, it's about the judge. It's real quick. It's that I want to run.
Huh?
I want to run the misdemeanor concurring with the other charges that I have.
Got to take it up with Diaz.
So you've got
to. Okay.
I'm only for magistrate. You've got to see your division judge on that, okay? Thank you. And then, no, I'm not taking any action. Did we do Levon? Did we figure out what Levon Gibbs?
Should be at.
Was that the one that?
I'll check again.
Levon Gibbs, Mr. Saunders. Do you have anyone over there?
We have one person left, and your name is?
Clarence Cummings.
Clarence what?
Cummings.
How do you spell your last name?
C-A-L-I-X-T-E.
Clinics.
And I don't have that person.
He's page 12, Judge. Municipal ordinance and a violation of probation. regular docket.
Can you spell spell his name, please?
Calixte. And he's on page 12 of the regular docket.
And the first name is what?
Clarence, Clarens.
And they might not have, it's so light on the docket, they might not have seen it over there.
Oh, so he's reset for tomorrow morning because I have nothing before, no documents before me on it.
Okay.
He'll be probably not here though, right?
No, he'll still come through here because he's got the municipal ordinance.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes, they add on there that he's a reset for the probation.
Oh, he's a reset for the probation, but the municipal ordinance is still now.
Oh.
My understanding was the whole thing was supposed to be reset. And that's why we don't have the paperwork.
All right, so then he'll be reset, Mr. Saunders.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you.
And Your Honor, Mr. Gibbs is at North Broward.
Mr. Gibbs is at North Broward.
Judge, it's a pleasure to meet you. I'm going to depart.
It's Austin. At Maine.
Oh. I was like, what? What happened?
Where it's coming from when it's,
Nice meeting you, Mr. Saunders. And then at North Broward, we have Levon Gibbs.
I don't have her. That's a man or a female or male?
It's male.
It's a male.
I have the arrest number if that'll help, Deputy.
Okay, give me one moment. What is the arrest number?
531
Mm-hmm.
801
Okay.
433.
Okay, one more.
You got some misdemeanors too, Judge.
Huh?
I don't know if you have, you've got a few misdemeanors too.
Frederick Vaslin, didn't we already handle his case? It seems like,
No, we did the first appearance, I think, yesterday.
Uh-huh.
But it's up on the second.
From yesterday?
He might have been a medical reset the first time through. What happens sometimes is when there's medical resets, the eventual first appearance and the second look end up very close to one another.
Okay, but then, I don't remember, did we address him yesterday?
We did, trying to remember, I know there was some discussion about possible mental health court, but I don't think that happened. He's in North
Is that the
Broward
person
also.
that Mr. Reedy was gonna find a place for him to go? I don't remember.
Vaslin.
Frederick Vaslin. I remember the name, but I don't remember what the issue was.
No, he wasn't on my list of people who I was trying to find a place for. He is in North Broward if you want to call him, Judge.
Well, North Broward,
I can go and get him.
who are you gonna get?
Gibbs. He's in the unit.
Gibbs? Levon Gibbs. And how about Frederick Vaslin? Vaslin.
I have his arrest number also.
Okay, I'm ready.
All right.
Go ahead.
591
Mm-hmm.
900
Okay.
024.
124.
And then how about Marvin Lewis?
Conti, Your Honor.
Deputy, it's 024.
Oh. I'm sorry, just a minute.
024.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you. And then Marvin Lewis is at Conti. What is the status of Mr. Lewis's case?
Your Honor, this is second look. He's got a $1 bond on the cannabis. I'd be more than the issue is he's got a parole hold on a aggravated battery with a deadly weapon. I'd be more than happy to make him a withhold offer, but that could obviously have ramifications on his parole.
That's right. So, Mr. Lewis, you're brought back today for a second look on this possession of cannabis, but you also have a parole hold. And so we're just going to leave things the way they are at this point in time. Okay?
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
And then is Mr. Gibbs the last person then? I have no...
Gibbs and Vaslin.
Oh, Vaslin, that's right.
the court took no action. He's going to Judge Diaz tomorrow.
Right.
Stumps. Go closer.
Where's the last one?
Well, I was going to say, I'm always convinced that.
Thank you.
There's a key right there, right? Yeah. And there's a key in the little box. This box right here.
I have Gibbs.
All right, I just.
Mr. Gibbs, good afternoon.
Hello.
Sir, you're back before the court for a second look on criminal use of personal ID info state or...
Yes, Your Honor, the state did file the charge, and we merged it with his other case, so information has been filed for this charge. I would ask that the motion be denied. Denied.
Okay, Mr. Gibbs, the information on your charge has been filed, so you will be going before your division judge at this time on these cases, okay?
Okay.
Good luck, Mr. Gibbs.
Okay.
Bathroom is on the way.
Okay, we're waiting.
Okay.
While we're waiting for Mr. Vaslin, at least if we can we find a police report on him?
Sure.
Thank you.
I lied about this one. PD, that's it. PD.
I do remember this. I just don't. Maybe I just remember it from reading it. We probably didn't do anything with it, but.
Oh, yeah, I mean, we actually talked about it for longer than usual on a
Okay.
second-degree misdemeanor.
And is there a bond? How much was the bond?
We kept the standard bond of 25 in place. I think with Mr. Reedy present, I think some of the concerns were, I don't know if there was somewhere for him to reside. Obviously, we can't resolve it because of potential restitution issues. I did advise that, well, I'll wait till he gets here for anything else.
Okay.
Mr. Vaseline.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Mr. Vaseline.
Hi.
All right. Mr. Vaseline, just to let you know, you're back before the court on a second look for defrauding an innkeeper. Does anyone have anything to add?
From what I understand, I don't believe there's anything else holding him. And I don't believe he's going to be able to post the monetary bond.
Is there anything holding Mr. Vaseline in custody?
No, this is the only matter.
I understand we can't resolve the matter because of the restitution issue. Mr. Vaseline, do you have a place to go?
No, sir. I was hoping to go to the homeless shelter here in Los Olas.
The court was inclined to release him. I don't know if you'd be interested, Mr. Vaseline, in going up to the CRC. It's a program run by Henderson. It's strictly voluntary. They can hook you up with all kinds of services. They've got a shower, washing machine. They'll feed you, give you some clean clothes, and maybe find you some housing. It's strictly voluntary. It's not a residential facility. You can't stay there any longer than 23 hours, but if you were interested, I would ask the judge to have them come pick you up tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock.
Where do I go after that? It's only a day.
You know, they can help you. They can tell you where to go. They can find homeless shelters for you, and they can, while they're waiting to maybe try and find something for you that's a little more permanent. If you're interested, I mean, it's release you right to the streets. I don't know.
Either way, I was just hoping. I know of a shelter here in town that I can walk to. It's right down the street from the Los Olas Hospital.
Would you be able to keep track of your court dates to make sure that you came back to court?
That's the idea, yeah. But on the other side of all of the politics and things that that I'm understanding about my life, I'm just trying to get to a safe place so that way I could try and get a job again. I would definitely pay the fines and go to the court dates and do those things if I could get a job. But, I've been working with two hands my whole life, and considering I've never had three, I don't know what to say,
Do we know the information has not been filed. It's a recent arrest, correct?
That's correct, Judge. He's been in custody since, I believe, the 7th.
Well, then we'll leave things the way they are. I'll take no action at this point. Thank you, Mr. Vaseline. All right. Is there anything else that is before the court that we haven't addressed? And thank you, everyone. The court is adjourned.